in academia. I'm a student of academia and an ex-professor of accounting at King Fahd University of Petroleum and Minerals in Bahrain for about 6 or 7 years. I've been teaching accounting and other courses over there. And I navigated my way to the private sector back in 2016, working as a consultant for many companies, and then joining several companies as an executive, CFO, then chief financial officer and consultant at many levels. It's really an honor for me to be standing in front of you all here today to talk about one of the, let's say, promising sectors in the kingdom. Promising but forgotten. Maybe because many of us, even I, before joining Ta'awuniya, was not extremely or well aware about the potential of this industry and what it can bring to any economy, let alone our beloved economy in Saudi Arabia. So today I want to kind of break down the speech into 4 sections very quickly, but I want this, ladies and gentlemen, to be an interactive session as much as possible. I want you to feel free to interject, ask questions at any time, and I'll be happy to address them. with النورم عندكم الحديث بالإنجليزي ولا بالعربي؟
We are خواجات ما شاء الله.
خواجات ما شاء الله عليك. طيب. زين. Just to talk very quickly about insurance. You all know insurance. I'm sure you all had an experience buying insurance or trying to get serviced from insurance. And it's usually not a very pleasant experience because we always associate insurance with a negative incident. A negative incident, right? A car accident, somebody going to the hospital, fire in a building, cybersecurity attack, lost mail, damage in your inventory. Something happened that you were not expecting as an individual or as an organization. That's a risk. That's something we call in business, and you all know in the business school what we mean when we say risk. Risk is risk of loss. Either you lose, of course, lives, which is very valuable to us, or you lose money. And losing money to companies is not a joke, right? Because if you lose money, you're losing shareholder money. I'm losing your money if you're an investor in the stock market. And I'm losing money for creditors, banks, who provided this money. So I need to have some sort of mechanism of mitigation in order to reduce my exposure to that risk. So when you think about risks in general, people can either avoid risk. So if you are fearful of having an accident or getting involved in an accident in your vehicle, don't drive. You can avoid it 100% by not driving. How many of you have seen people that prefer not to fly or have a fear of flight, right? Many people have that fear, right? And they say, I prefer not to go by airplane because they have that conception that if I go, maybe something bad will happen, and I don't want to be in that airplane. And that's called avoidance, right? People avoid it. But the problem is, when you do business, there are kinds of risks that you cannot avoid. You cannot avoid. You have to take risks, otherwise, basics of finance is high risk, high return, right? If you undertake risk or take risk that you are not compensated for with a high return, you are not doing your job well. You are not doing your job well. So what people do is you take risk, but you set a risk appetite. And when you set your risk appetite, you say, okay, I'm willing to take this risk provided that I reduce or mitigate the possibility of that event happening through many ways. One of them is insurance. So when you think about avoidance or reduction or retention of risk, eventually you want to transfer that risk to somebody who is able to bear that risk. And this is where insurance companies come in. If you have a well-functioning economy with services, manufacturing, petroleum economy like what we have today, that we are trying to diversify and expand and make it more of a service economy and attractive to foreign investors to come in and put their money, invest in building hospitals and building hotels and attractions, etc., etc. This is all a thriving economy. And all of these events and activities require risk management. And we're not talking about just insuring vehicles or insuring individuals when they go to hospitals. We're talking about insuring mega projects, insuring railways, insuring factories, insuring major buildings and towers and everything that you see around you in your nation. So that cannot happen if you don't have a sophisticated and well-functioning insurance industry, insurance companies, right? It's very similar to having a thriving economy without a banking industry. Can you imagine that happening? You cannot have a thriving economy without banks, because people need credit, need to borrow money in order to finance projects. And those are the experts of lending and finance and financial risk management. The experts of all other risks related to your operations are insurance companies. So insurance companies have a big scope. They insure risks at the individual level. So you insure your vehicle if you're driving. You insure your health. But other business activities require insurance of a different kind. So that's corporate insurance, right? A company might come to us and say, we have built a mall, for example, a new mall in Riyadh, and we want to insure it against fire. لا قدر الله لو حصل حريق. Do I lose the whole mall? No, I need somebody to take that risk. So the question that comes to your mind naturally, how can an insurance company cover that risk while the company who built the mall is not able to cover that risk? The question or the answer to this question is very simple. It is diversification of risk. Have you all heard of this term before or got familiar with it before? Risk diversification means what? Anybody has an answer for that? Like to share? ها؟ وين الدوافير اللي عندكم؟ Sure, please.
So, I'm not very familiar with it. I think in order to mitigate risk, you have to diversify in different forms so that if you lose at one place, you gain at the other. Right?
Exactly.
So you have to find a mix and match until you have a maximum return.
Exactly.
Also, I have a question.
Yes.
The more diversification, the more the return, and the low the risk.
Exactly.
So even if you are more diversified, you can make your risk lower.
Absolutely. So diversification is a key component of any insurance business, right? If you diversify, it means an insurance company is able to underwrite, we call it underwriting, or undertake several risks. What are the chances that if I insure 17 malls rather than one mall, what are the chances that all of them will catch fire? Very low, right? Unless all the malls are in one location. So an insurance company knows how to manage that risk and insure a number of projects so that if one of them or two of them have a problem, they can immediately address it. Of course, there are what we call emerging risks that we were never exposed to before, that happen all of a sudden. For example, you all hear about now cyber security risk, right? How many of you think or have a conception of what happens if I lose my data? If my email gets hacked or my phone gets hacked, how can I retrieve it? Is there anybody who can compensate me for this? Insurance companies today are developing products for cyber security insurance. Companies, imagine a company that loses its data because of a cybersecurity attack. How can they manage this risk? Through insurance. So this composition or business relationship, the nature of this relationship, makes this industry really, really critical for the success of any economy, not just the Saudi economy, any economy. تفضل.
For the cybersecurity issues, do you mean like when the insurance can pay out the hackers or they pay out to what we got?
It depends how you structure the policy, but in general, it would compensate you for the value of what you lost. So if you lost data about your customers and it's worth a certain amount, you get compensated for it. You go and get the data again some other way, right? Insurance company is not going to do an investigation or go and negotiate with hackers on your behalf. That's not going to happen. But at the end of the day, you at least don't lose value without any sort of compensation. So you're not in the business of protecting yourself from all of these risks. You are in the business of selling food, let's say, or selling a service like telecom. You don't want to worry about risks outside the scope of telecom or outside the scope of the food industry. You want to worry about the risks of food because that's what you know. That's what you specialize in. Leave risk management to the specialists. So this is where insurance companies can play a major role. So I'm going to give you a bit of a history, and I'm not going to go through all of the slides and bore you. This is not your classic lecture or anything like that. So formation of insurance in the kingdom is a very young industry compared to the wealth of history that we have in Saudi Arabia. 1985, the actual concept of insurance was approved and sealed by the Council of Ministers through a royal decree. You can actually establish an insurance company in the kingdom. Because in the past, and this is a very sad misconception, people always thought about insurance as what? You all probably don't know. الجيل الجديد ترى غيرنا.
What do you mean?
It's against Islam, صح? If you buy insurance, أنت قاعد تعارض القدر. هذه فكرة كانت موجودة. If I do that, if I buy insurance, I am يعني somehow violating Islamic يعني teachings, huh? You're betting on the future. So كأنك تقول I'm gambling, right? While in fact, there are many ways in many other countries, Islamic countries, that have developed solution for this concept. And the concept is very simple. It's called cooperative insurance. That's why Ta'awuniya is called Ta'awuniya as the first insurance company. The idea of takaful insurance or cooperative insurance. The cooperative insurance or takaful insurance concept is very simple. We all have risks in this room. We all pool our resources together, create a fund or a company, and this company is going to compensate you if something like Allah happens to you, or compensate you if something happens to you out of this fund. And if something remains, goes back to us. So, minkum wa ilaykum.
So that really goes back?
It does really go back for those that don't have risk exposure. So today,
I have been insured for a number of years. I never get something.
because the insurance company is losing money. So that's a very valid question, Doctor. Like, if insurance company is making money, and you have been insured for a year or more, at the end of the year, if you have not experienced any losses, you should get part of your money back. Not all of your money, but part of your money back. Yeah. And that makes it a cooperative insurance model. A cooperative insurance model تعاوني تأمين تعاوني نتعاون عشان لأجل يعني مساعدة أحد الأطراف المعنية في التأمين إذا حدث عنده any risk. Okay, so that's the concept of cooperative insurance, and that's how it was approved in 1985. Immediately in 1986, Ta'awuniya was formed as the first ever insurance company in Saudi Arabia, national insurance company, with this framework of or methodology of insurance. And then مجلس الضمان الصحي was established in 1999. SAMA, or the Saudi Central Bank that we call it today, became the key supervisory body for insurance in 2004-2003 time frame, and they have now the oversight over all insurance companies in the kingdom. Vision 2030 came in 2016. and that entailed a lot of promises. And you all know about the vision programs and what we aspire to do in the kingdom. All of this growth that you see with the programs of our Vision 2030 are going to be requiring risk management. All of them. If you think about building a great city like the Line, you think you can build something like that without insurance? No way. No way. So think across the board. Growth in the economy means growth in the number of people, growth in the number of vehicles that you have on the road, and growth in projects and buildings. And all of those require insurance and are exposed to risks. And the risks keep coming up. يعني ما كنا نعرف عن cyber security فجأة سمعنا عنه. إنه الآن والله نحن مستهدفون في بعض الأشياء وكذا. This means that you need to mitigate this risk ahead of time and de-risk your growth. Otherwise, your strategy for achieving your goals is going to be compromised very easily if we don't take that into account. Now, I want to give you a picture that reflects where we are today. After all of this happened, today, if you look at the insurance companies in the kingdom, there are 26 insurance companies. 26 insurance companies. Too much. In very simple language, too much. يعني بسيط الموضوع بسيط. ليش أنا أقول too much? Take it as a comparison and think about the banking industry. How many banks do we have? Roughly 8, 6, 7, something like that.
11, 12.
No more. Definitely no more than that. Right? That's more than enough for the size of our economy today. You need to have large banking institutions that are able to finance mega projects and giga projects. You don't want to have 25 or 30 or 40 banks operating with very small capital. The problem or the deformity in the insurance industry today is that you have a very low barrier to entry. Anybody of you who studied management, strategic management, would know what that means. Low barrier to entry to an industry means what? Means that industry is profitable and it's very easy for you to get in. So when the regulation of insurance came about in 2003, 2004, they set two conditions. You need to have 100 million riyals of capital, which is, for insurance, is very small money. And you need to be listed in the stock exchange. And you can have an insurance company. So insurance company today is not about buildings or equipment or inventory or sophisticated science behind it. It's not that much, right? But the idea is, if anybody has 100 million riyals or a group of investors have 100 million riyals, they can easily establish an insurance company, call it any name, and have it listed, and all of a sudden now you have an insurance company that is presenting itself as a viable solution for you. Now, if you go and insure with a company that doesn't have what we call al-mala al-maliyya, or sound capital structure, ability to withstand shocks, كأنك تركب صدام في الليل على سيارتك. It's the same idea, right? Versus steel ولا فولاذ إلى آخره. So the idea is you need to make sure that these insurance companies are able to absorb. Now هذا يمكن خطأ استراتيجي سابق سنوات طويلة لأسباب يمكن وقتها كان التفكير إنه let's make sure this industry has only one insurer, let's make sure it has competition. لو تلاحظوا معي مقارنة بسيطة التليكوم industry versus insurance. Telecoms, how many telecoms we have? Four. Four, right? Yeah, one of them is almost non-existent. I don't know how many of you have, what is it, Virgin? Or right? So the question is, if you let the industry grow naturally, it's not easy to establish a telecom company. It requires a lot of capital, a lot of know-how, a lot of licenses were given at a very expensive fees, right? Why? Because they want to control the number of industry participants. And even with that, some of them face a lot of difficulties to actually make money, right? So you need to balance competition. You want to have competition, but you don't want to have over competition because you will kill the industry. You will kill the industry. أعطيكم مثال آخر. The aviation industry in the United States. The aviation industry or قطاع الطيران حر. زي كل like all sectors in the United States, in a capitalist economy, these sectors are free. So it means anybody can establish an airline. So they were deregulated versus many other countries where airlines are regulated. يعني أنا اليوم ما أقدر أنا أروح أفتح خطوط طيران على كيفي. في فرنسا ولا في السعودية ولا في ألمانيا. You have to go through certain processes and procedures, right? And you have to qualify, etc., etc. In the US, no. Anybody who has a few hundreds of millions of reals, يعني group of investors that come in and start an airline, small size, big size, etc. So you ended up with tens of airlines in the United States, and they started price wars against each other. Idea is let's reduce cost, but what happened is جودة الخدمة went really down because they have to compromise on service. They cannot cut cost of maintenance in an airplane. Definitely you don't want that, right? So you have to compromise on service quality. And so it's one of the most miserable experiences to travel. اللي عندكم ما يحب الخطوط السعودية ترى روح جرب خطوط أمريكية مرة جيدة. تجربة سيئة جدا للأسف في أغلب الأحوال في أغلب الأحيان يعني مو دائما لكن في أغلب الأحيان. سببها the reason is this structure of the industry. So this is exactly what's happening in the insurance industry today in Saudi Arabia. You have 26 companies, all of them flooded the market, a lot of price competition, unhealthy. When they insure you for 1,000 riyals or 700 riyals for your vehicle, they actually know that if something happens, it's going to cost them more than 700 riyals. But they need the money to survive anyway. They don't care. They don't care. That's why you go to a company like Boba or Ta'awniya or Rajh Takaful, you find the insurance to be more expensive because they know what they're doing. They are undertaking risks in a way that enable them to actually pay you and still make some money for the shareholders and pay any other creditors if something happens. But that's not available to many of these insurance companies. So opportunity today for many of these insurance companies to consolidate or merge together in order to create 3, 5, 6, 7 giant, strong insurance companies like what you have with the banking industry. SNB, Rajhi Bank, etc., Al-Inma, all of them, these are not small banks. They're not small banks. And you feel يعني safe, relatively speaking, putting your money there. You don't feel it's like a small mom and pop bank that has a very low credit rating that you maybe tomorrow you wake up and they are bankrupt. هذا حصل في أمريكا ترى. تعلموا منها درس قاسي في الثمانينات. قالوا لا, we cannot continue this way. So that's an evolution and that's the symptoms of where we are today in the insurance industry. Now, when you look at all of this, you say, what's in this for me as somebody who is graduating from school or studying today? How can I leverage this? The growth in the economy and the state of the insurance industry gives you a great advantage to specialize or understand insurance and get a job in an industry where it's going to be thriving in the future with all of this commotion, consolidation, and growth in the economy. And it's something that many people conceive to be a specialized, technical, difficult industry. Not anybody can do it. So stay away from insurance. Banking, to some extent, people think it's difficult. It's a lot of math and a lot of numbers. I don't want to get involved in that industry. Let me go and sell milk with Nadik or Marai. It's something I can drink every day and understand what it is. And that's not always the smartest idea for your career, because if you specialize in a niche, in something that people perceive, at least, even if it's not reality, to be highly specialized, highly sophisticated, you end up getting a premium for your services as an employee or as a participant in that industry. So this is a golden opportunity for anybody who is now thinking of how can I steer my career the right way? Okay, I'm going to graduate with a bachelor degree in finance or in marketing. Where can I make the biggest bang for my services? Where can I make money in this expensive world that we live in? And that's the question you need to answer. You need to think about when you think about charting your career and thinking about what you do after you get out of school. And believe me, the years pass by very, very, very quickly. I remember just like a few months ago, I was a student sitting in a classroom and learning. And I still learn. But you think, still 3-4 years, I don't have to think about it, or 2 years, I don't. You need to think about it now. Really, you need to think about it now if you care about your career. يعني. Right? You don't want to wait until the end and then try to figure it out. طقة والحقها ما تصلح. You cannot do that. Right? Insurance industry is shrinking now. In 2020, we had 31 insurers, going to 30, going to 28. Now they are 26. And they keep shrinking because they are consolidating. And all of a sudden, you're going to see 3 or 4 giant insurance companies, the caliber of the banking industry, similar to an insurance industry, that you can really feel proud to join and be part of this success story and reap the benefits. Of course, consolidation means a higher profitability. Higher profitability means higher salaries, means higher bonuses, means a great career for you. Essentially, if you care about money. If you don't care about money, business school is not for you. Are we all, is it clear, or are there any questions? I can pause here. Yes, تفضل. In what sense? Yeah. What do you mean by why is not? The industry? Yeah, because today when you insure, for example, you talk about medical insurance, right? مثلا, if you go outside the kingdom with your insurance, the coverage that you have today is based on a relationship between BOPA or Ta'awniya with the hospitals in the kingdom. If you go to the hospitals in the kingdom, they recognize this insurance and they have a contract between them to cover you in case you visit the hospital for la qadar Allah. But if you go to a hospital in Egypt, we don't have a relationship with that hospital because we don't have customers there, right? So you need to get something else. And we have a product for that. It's called travel insurance. If you buy travel insurance, it covers you for many risks, including, la qadar Allah, health risks if you are outside the kingdom. So there is a product for that. But you have to buy it separately. But people today, part of the problem, ترى في المملكة, the awareness about insurance. You don't know. You don't know that you can insure your mobile. You don't know that you can insure your house. You can insure your travel. You can insure your travel against delay. If your flight gets missed, or you lose it for any reason, you're not able to catch it, and you lose a lot of money. You paid for a hotel already, and you paid for renting a car in Europe or whatever, and you missed the flight. You missed the flight because you couldn't go or because of any reason. You got insurance, you can get your money back. This is called U-turn بالعربي. خلي لك طريق رجعة. This is there. And so it's very, very important that we increase awareness about insurance. People don't know what they can or what they should insure. Yes.
So should I pay more? Like it's living, right? So A, B, C.
Yeah.
So should I have to pay more for A?
You mean the type of insurance coverage? Yes, of course. Every premium service or premium coverage, if you want to go and get any treatment in Al Habib Hospital or Faqih or Dalla, that's expensive. So you have to pay a premium that compensates for that. If you say no, I'm not keen on going there. I just need treatment in other cheaper or second tier hospitals. I'm fine. We can do that, and you can buy a class B or class C insurance depending on. And companies do that. يعني اليوم أنت تشتغل في شركة. Part of the attraction ترى لما تشتغل في أي مكان they will tell you, by the way, we have A class insurance with تعاونية or with BOPA. and that's going to be a benefit to you and your family, huh? And maybe even your parents. Other companies might not do the same. Why? Because they don't have the capability, or they cannot afford insurance for all of their employees, so they go for lower class insurance, or they segregate. يعني مثلا labor, workers, cleaners, etc. Give them C class insurance, and then you go higher as you go. So that's all there.
I have used many insurance, such as Athna. You know,
يا إتنا معروف.
yes. So Athna is like for cover.
Yeah, the mic. If you have a question, please wait for the mic. At least we
Want to hear it, yes.
We hear the questions.
It includes sunglasses and everything, and even massage.
Yeah.
But that's not like, you know, they told me if you like 50% to die, maybe you get help.
If what? Sorry.
Like you fall to die.
Yeah.
In other ways, for itself.
Yeah. It's called life insurance.
Yeah.
It's called life insurance.
Yeah. If you don't involve.
That's all available and all possible. Life insurance is a great opportunity also. Many people are. I get calls about people who say, "What if something happens to me? I don't, I have a family, I have a lot of kids, etc. Can I buy life insurance?" What is life insurance? Life insurance is the insurance company will pay out your salary to your inheritance, whoever inherits you, for a number of years, based on your last compensation. And that's something you pay for a premium today. كأنك تقول I'm putting money in a fund where if something happens to me, لا قدر الله, I need this fund to be used to cover the people I love and I'm leaving behind. Right? This is essentially savings for them, and that's all possible. When you talk about Aetna or other international insurance companies, imagine a company like Bupa or Tawni multiplied by 100 or 200 in terms of scale and size. So they can do even more than what we can. So that's why I'm saying we have a great economy, very big in terms of numbers. We have 1 trillion riyals, and I want to show you one graph that would help you visualize where this is going. So these are some of the top 20 G20 countries or nations across the board, and their percentage of insurance as a percentage of GDP. So if you look at South Africa, it's 13.9, US 12.5, etc. And you go down until you reach Saudi Arabia today. Our level of penetration, we call it, is only 1.48%. If you just compare Saudi Arabia to the baseline, average penetration rate for G20 countries is 6%. That means we have room to grow by 76% in this industry. So we can more than double in size. Yes, further.
Okay, since I'm closer, thank you. What's holding the industry from growth? I mean, that's a huge potential.
Yeah. So now the deformity I mentioned in the beginning about the structure of the industry and the number of players in the industry makes it very difficult for companies to make money to grow. How does an insurance company grow? You make profits. You make profits out of scale. You accumulate capital. You have bigger capital. You can insure more risks. You have bigger capital. You can insure more risks. An average size company like Tawni that has almost 2 billion riyals in capital today can insure what you see around today we close around 10 to 12, anywhere 10 to 12 billion riyals of insurance. 10 to 12 billion riyals of insurance in the Saudi economy is still small. It's big. It's a great company, size-wise. It's the biggest, but it's still small compared to a nation that has 1 trillion riyals of GDP, right? So you need to do more. You need to have 5 or 6 companies like Tawni or like Bupa. Then you say, okay, I am really covering the major risks in the economy, and I'm able to absorb the shocks, and I reach that level. So that means that translates into growth. So we see today, between 2010, the total insurance in the industry was around 15 billion riyals. total. اليوم شركة واحدة they can do this. That's 2010 يا جماعة، مو بعيد ترى بالنسبة لي أنا على الأقل، يعني مو بعيد. 2015 we reached 35 billion riyals of insurance. Insurance, when I say how much revenue we are getting, how many policies are we issuing, and what's the value of those policies. 35 billion. Then 2020 up to 37 billion. Projection by 25 is to go anywhere between 56 billion to 80 billion, depending on many variabilities and changes in the global and local economy, and Vision 2030. Between 25 and 2030 should go up to at least 79 billion and up to 154 billion if everything that we dream of, inshallah, happens in this country. Then that's the growth. This is money, and money is going to be translated into profits. Profits are going to be translated into great careers. So that's in a nutshell an answer to your question.
Just one question. The role of SAMA to encourage company to consolidate and merge with each other. Do they playing an active role or? They are. Of course, the regulators, SAMA, CMA, all the other major regulators, have started to realize, this industry is getting out of hand. Too many players. A lot of companies today are losing money, as you saw, and some of them are actually going bankrupt. Difficult, very difficult, by the way, for a company that's listed in the stock market to go bankrupt. Very difficult. But that's happening. That's happening today. So what they are trying to do is to motivate insurance companies to merge together. The problem is, if you get a bad apple and merge it with another bad apple, what do you get? A bigger bad apple. A bigger bad apple, right? So the incentive is, can you put some really good incentives for large companies who are profitable to buy any small non-profitable companies? The question then becomes for me, as a strong, let's say profitable, sizable company, why would I do it? If I do it, my shareholders will kill me. Why me? أنا أتحمل ذنب الزمن? No. So then something else has to happen. Something else has to happen. Somebody needs to come and say, okay, I'm going to create a company that's supported by the government, and say, I'm going to buy all of these companies together and put them under one umbrella and remanage them, reshuffle them. All together become one national insurance company or whatever name they call it. That's possible to happen. And that's the only way you can generate scale very quickly. Because you need scale. If you don't have scale, all of these companies don't have scale. They have 100 million riyals of capital and it's eaten away by losses. So they cannot insure bigger risks. They cannot insure more drivers. They cannot go and insure a large company for medical insurance. They cannot. So you go and buy medical insurance, you only have two choices, Tawniya or Bopa, and maybe Midgar. And then you're stuck, right? So that means the economy is not able to absorb, transfer the risks to the right industry. And that's the problem.
So to this point, Dr. Amr, you mentioned that the industry is consolidating. What does that mean to business students or the students in general? Because you mentioned the industry is thriving, so it's a good opportunity for students to specialize in insurance. Wouldn't that cut jobs, for example?
The number of jobs in these companies, the smaller companies, is very small anyway. When they consolidate, they need to become larger organizations. So there are many opportunities. The opportunities actually lie in two areas. Investment banking, to consolidate all of these, you need investment bankers. You need lawyers, you need accountants, you need actuaries to consolidate them or work in them. And all of these are very, very highly paid jobs. There is no poor lawyers or poor investment bankers. You cannot find. But if you go and work in HR, good luck. Right? So be careful what you choose and how you structure your career. I want to talk a little bit, I know I'm getting out of time, but the future. Talking about first stage of insurance usually starts with the basic industries. The basic industries, you're talking about what? Manufacturing, pharmaceuticals, oil and gas, utilities, all of these need insurance. No country has any function without this industry. So this is where insurance starts. Starts with these basic industries. And then you move on
to more sophisticated manufacturing, consumer products, healthcare, medical technology, education, hotels, airlines, auto industry. If you manufacture vehicles or so on, these are more sophisticated, require larger scale insurance. And then you think about the more sophisticated industries here, the telcos, the retails, the technology companies, media companies. These are higher end insurance clients. Okay, so these are the three stages of digital enablement. Today, when you look at this, think about digitization. Insurance and digitization or information technology are very much linked to each other. I'll give you an example. You have 10,000 people going to visit a hospital to seek medical treatment. All of them have a long list of bills and procedures that they have gone through, right? How do you verify that all of these procedures are actually valid and claimable by insurance? Either you go and do it manually, check each invoice, each procedure, and if, for example, somebody went to the dental clinic and got teeth whitening, or they did Hollywood Smile, and the medical provider decide to bill the insurance company, try your luck. Maybe they'll pay it. They would pay it if they don't know how to tease it out, to get it out, right? To say this is not covered, and this is not covered. If I'm not able to do that, I start to pay for things that I'm not insured, and I start to lose money as an insurance company very quickly. And that happens all the time, right? So here is where digitization, insurance technology comes in, to make things automated, to make the process integrated, so that if you insure a certain risk, you get compensated for that risk, not for any other risk, because people unfortunately abuse systems when they have the ability to do so. So that's all interconnected, right? So there are many, many opportunities in insurance, whether you are technology savvy, MIS student, a finance student, an accounting student, a math or statistics student. Excellent opportunities to learn a sophisticated subject and to make a premium salary compared to anywhere else that you would go, apart from the banking industry, of course, and the other sophisticated employers. This is going to be a major opportunity in the future. So that's essentially what I wanted to cover today. I want to kind of open the floor for questions, maybe a more Q&A or any other discussions. I'm happy to talk about it.
I think the mic is here. Yeah. Who's handling the mic? Okay.
For the life insurance, when someone passes away, they will get their salary for a couple of years. But would that affect their retirement?
No. No.
Okay. And the second point for the insurance, you said there's too many, which will affect the quality of service. As a consumer, isn't it better for me to have this many competition?
The general idea, more competition, better service. General idea. But too much competition, loss-making, poor service. So you have to have a balance. Competition. If everybody is selling bread is going to be a disaster, right? You have to have competition in selling bread. To a certain extent, you don't want one person or two people only in Riyadh selling bread, but you want to have a good number that would balance the industry. They make money, and you are happy with the bread that you're getting. That balance is very important. Over competition will kill an industry because the margin for profit will be very small, and it starts to become negative. And if it becomes negative, either these companies go bankrupt, naturally in a capitalist economy, if you have 50 players go into a market, they try to slice the same pie. It's one pie, right? their pieces will be smaller and smaller and smaller. And if they are not able to survive, costs are very high, salaries are very high, etc., they cannot survive. So what they do, they exit. They sell out or they go bankrupt. Then the industry shrinks and then it comes to a normalization where you have an optimal number of players in an industry. Now, what's happening here is that these companies are large, in terms of numbers, and they are listed. So if you're listed, very difficult to get out of the game. Once you go in, it's difficult to get out. So you're stuck. ليش؟ لأنه سعر الأسهم، سعر السهم أو the share price in the market does not reflect reality. So nobody will be willing to exit and leave the company. So unless you force it by regulation, so that's something else. Right, yeah. Any other questions, جماعة؟ تفضل. لو بس ناخذ سؤال. طيب go ahead.
Why should I choose Downy?
Well, I'm not here to market Downy. But if you look at insurance in general, people when I buy insurance, forget that I'm an employee of Downy. I've been only with the company for now almost 2 years. You want to feel protected. You want to feel just similar to when you go and choose a bank. How do you choose a bank? You choose a bank that you have quality of service and you feel safe that you put your money there. It's not going to come tomorrow and say, oh, by the way, we lost your money. Sorry. Right? You're going to feel very angry. صح? Same thing for an insurance company. If you end up buying insurance and all of a sudden when you need them, they are not there for you, you will feel pissed off. So Tawniya is known to be a company that would serve customers the best way possible, very responsive and very strong. Now, not necessarily we are always 100% excellent service for each and every customer. We try our best, but not always. طبعا أكيد في حالات ما هي pleasant. بس هذه يعني طبيعة البزنس طبيعي when you deal with retail and masses. But we try our best to make sure that our clients have the best experience. سواء كان شخص أو شركة. And it's not easy. Not easy to please everybody. أنت عشان ترضي 4 أنفار تبغى لك قصة. ما بالك لما يكون عندك 10 or millions of customers. We have 2.4 million people insured in Saudi Arabia. 2.4 million. المملكة فيها 30 مليون. You do the math. Potential. Question?
If I'm not working in a company that provides this insurance,
Yeah.
should I pay for 100% insurance or
Great question. أول شيء, regulation says that you cannot work in a company in Saudi Arabia and they don't provide you health insurance.
I'm not working?
If you're not working, that's something else. You're not covered by insurance. So, yeah, you should definitely. If you now, this is a dilemma always. يعني طبعا صغار السن always think, why would I go buy insurance for 5,000, 6,000 riyals for a year to be able to go to hospitals while I am young, still healthy, etc. Huh?
But if like I visit the hospital like once or twice a month,
Yeah.
should I pay for the healthcare insurance or it's waste of money?
I don't think health insurance is a waste of money anyway, because it's protection. It is protection. It is protection against something that you don't know. And sometimes people are completely healthy and all of a sudden, la qadar Allah, they get involved in an accident. They require to sleep in hospital for a month. If you don't have insurance, it's not going to be the best 2 months of your life. Yeah. Right?
After this, like if you don't have the insurance, the government will pay.
Yeah, but the experience is different. Yeah, and I don't wish anybody get that experience. Right?
يعطيك بالعافية. No, not encouraging people to have insurance. Otherwise, nobody will insure us. So make sure you contribute to your national duty. We have one last question. If you have any questions, we're quick. We're running out of time.
So I have to
Yes, yes.
In your opinion, what will be the impact of industry consolidation on the consumers?
I think it will end up with
Because normally whenever the industry consolidates, normally they charge high from the consumers and sometimes they create a monopoly. So how do you review that?
that's always a risk for sure, right? But I think consolidation up to a certain level is going to be healthy because today you have a lot of insurance companies that are not able to cover the risk. So you're wasting your money by buying insurance from them, and then all of a sudden they're not there when you need them. So the consolidation is going to basically put pressure on prices to go a little bit up, but on service quality to go up. So you really have a real functioning insurance, ability to absorb all kinds of risks rather than let's say, paper-based insurance that's not worth as much as you're paying. And, but of course, too much consolidation is going to create monopoly. Yeah, but that's not the aim. Of course, they will not allow this to happen. I don't think so. Right?
يعطيك العافية.
الله يعافيك.
Thank
شكرا
you.
جزيلا. شكرا جزيلا على وقتكم.
يعطيك العافية. شكرا يعطيك العافية. Thank you. I appreciate your attendance, guys. يعطيك العافية.
شكرا.